Sai Ram, and a very big welcome to all our listeners. Thank you for tuning into Radio Sai Ma. I'm Madhulika.
And I am Sai Lakshmi. Together, we are honored to be your hosts as we celebrate the special occasion of Ladies' Day 2021.
Today's theme is the many forms of motherhood.
Let us listen to what our beloved Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba has to say about Ladies' Day.
కనుక ఇలాంటి ప్రబోధనలు చేసే నిమిత్తమైపోయి ఈ 19వ తేదీ నవంబర్ 19వ తేదీ ఈ దినము పవిత్రమైన దినంగా రూపొందింపచేశాము.
So to give you this message, November 19th has become a very holy day.
November 19th అనేది ఏదో ఒక తమాష కోసం నిర్ణయించింది కాదు.
November 19th is not there for mere.
తల్లుల యొక్క ప్రేమతత్వాన్ని జగత్తుకు చాటాలి.
To disseminate the mother's love to the whole world.
పిల్లలను పవిత్రవంతులుగా రూపొందింపచేయాలి.
And the children should become pure.
ఆదర్శవంతమైన పుత్రులుగా రూపొందించాలి.
They must become exemplary children.
అందు నిమిత్తమై 19వ తేదీ పవిత్రమైన దినంగా రూపొందింపచేశాము.
For this reason, this 19th is become a hallowed day.
కనుక ఈ 19th అనేటువంటిది ఇంకా జన్మమంతా ఎన్ని జన్మలు వచ్చినా కానీ ఈ 19th ఏనాటికి మారదు ఇంకా.
So time may pass, eons may pass, but 19th will remain forever.
సంవత్సరమైనప్పటికీ నవంబర్ 19th ఏనాటికి మారదు.
Many years may go by, but the November 19th
స్వామి యొక్క దృఢమైనటువంటి సంకల్పంతో చేసినటువంటిది
will never change because it is the outcome of Swami.
చాలా మంది ఇంకా నెల కూడా 19వ తేదీకంతా కూడా పండుగలు చేసుకుంటున్నారు.
And on November 19th, many people do celebrate it.
కనుకనే ఈ 19వ తేదీకి భగవంతుని ప్రేమను పొందే నిమిత్తమై ఆచరించేసినవి మీరు భావించాలి.
So you must think that November 19th has been earmarked for all of us to obtain the love of God.
Dear listeners, you're in for a real treat today as we travel back in time together to meet not one, not two, but 4 extraordinary women from the past and the present.
Each of them is a personification of exceptional nurturing, the key mark of motherhood. We are excited to listen to their life stories that have left an indelible impact on this world.
Our first adventure takes us to the 19th century. Hold on to your seats as we begin our journey, zipping through time. Fire up the engine, Sai Lakshmi.
That was quite a journey through the space-time continuum, Madhulika. I was getting a little dizzy back there, but it looks like we made it.
We sure did, dear listeners. Our first guest gave to the world a remarkable man. He freed the slaves and changed the course of American history. Any guesses who our guest could be?
You guessed it. Dear listeners, let us welcome our first guest, Mrs. Nancy Hanks Lincoln, mother to President Abraham Lincoln.
Good evening, and Sai Ram, Mrs. Nancy Lincoln.
Welcome to Radio Sai Ma.
Thank you, Madhulika and Sai Lakshmi, for having me here today. I'm so excited to share my life story with you and your listeners.
And we are so thrilled to have you here with us.
Mrs. Lincoln, to begin, could you please tell our viewers a little bit about your younger days?
Well, I was born in 1784 in what is now West Virginia. Later, I was raised by my grandparents in Kentucky until I was 9 years old. When my grandfather passed away, I went to live with my mother and became a seamstress. At 22, I married Thomas Lincoln. He was a farmer and a carpenter. We were very poor. We lived in a log cabin with dirt floors. There was no electricity, no plumbing, and no proper heating. All of us had to work on the farm, including the children.
Was there anything that young Abraham enjoyed doing as a child?
Well, he loved to read. He would even walk for miles to borrow books. Then he would sit by the fireplace and read. He also loved to stand on a tree stump and entertain all of us with his speeches.
Do you recall any incidents that shaped young Abraham's character?
Well, one incident comes to mind almost immediately. One day, young Abraham came home from school with tears in his eyes.
Let us go back in time to witness this incident. The details of the conversation that took place between Mrs. Nancy Lincoln and Abraham were revealed by Bhagavan Baba during a discourse in Prashanthi Nilayam on his 75th birthday on November 23rd, 2000.
Mama! Mama!
Abraham, what's wrong? Why are you crying?
Mama! Some of the kids in school made fun of me today. They were very mean to me.
But why, honey?
Because we are poor, Mama. Because my clothes, they're old and tattered.
I am so sorry, Abraham. It was very unkind of those boys to speak to you in that way.
Thank you, Ma. But please, can you buy me new clothes and new shoes? I want to be just like them.
Oh, honey, I would love to. But we do not even have enough food to feed all four of us. How can we afford to buy you expensive clothes? But there is an important life lesson to learn in this.
What is that, Mama?
Never get upset over what others think of you. Put your best effort in everything you do, and you are bound to succeed. Remember that self-confidence is a foundation in life. This became a turning point in Abraham's life. In fact, after this incident, Abraham would always tell himself, "My self-confidence will safeguard me. I may not have the wealth of the world, but I have got this wealth of self-confidence."
Thank you for sharing such a powerful incident, Mrs. Lincoln. And thank you for joining us at Radio Sai Ma today.
Thank you for having me here. You are doing such amazing work. God bless you both.
Dear listeners, we just saw how Abraham was taught the virtue of self-confidence. That was key to his becoming one of the most respected leaders in history.
Here is a beautiful quote that President Lincoln wrote about his mother.
God bless my mother. All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe to her.
Sadly, Mrs. Lincoln passed away when Abraham was only 9 years old. However, a year later, he was blessed with a wonderful stepmother, Mrs. Sarah Bush Lincoln.
She loved Abraham immensely and continued to instill the same values in him that his mother Nancy had first planted.
President Lincoln went on to lead the nation through the American Civil War. He preserved the Union and abolished slavery.
It was because of the blessings, selfless love, and virtues taught by his mother and reinforced by his stepmother that Abraham emerged successful in life.
To wrap up this segment, let us hear what our beloved Swami has to say about them. That was such a fascinating story of Mama Lincoln. I can understand why Swami talks about the greatness of Abraham Lincoln and the influence his mother had on him.
So true. Now, let's travel back in time and to another continent, the land of Bharat. We see the strength of motherhood shine through selfless sacrifice. Our next guest gave to this universe a great spiritual teacher. We welcome Mother Ariamba.
Namaskara and Sai Ramama. We are indeed very blessed to have you with us this evening.
Namaskaram to all.
You gave this world one of the greatest spiritual teachers ever, Adi Shankara. Could you please share something of his early days?
We hail from a village called Khaladi in southern India. We had all comforts in our lives. However, we were childless. As a result of our constant prayers to Lord Shiva, we were blessed with a son, Shankara, which means a gift of Lord Shiva.
Please tell us more, Amma.
Shankara showed deep love for learning. By the time he was 1, he learned all his alphabets. By 2, he learned all his words. And by 3, he could read all the text. His Upanayanam or sacred thread ceremony was performed so he could recite the Gayatri mantra.
Very blessed indeed.
That's the time Shankara's father passed away. I devoted myself completely to raising Shankara by myself. I took him to a guru to gain scriptural knowledge. Shankara was a keen, avid, and a quick learner. His thirst for knowledge was unparalleled. One day, a group of sages was passing by our home and saw Shankara.
His effulgence is not of a common boy. He is the very spark of divine.
Yes, he is the spark of Shiva, but alas, he will not live long.
Shankara, receive their blessings, my dear son.
No, Amma. We should be offering our respects to Shankara. How can we expect to receive respects from him?
O holy ones, blessed I am to hear your word of praise. At the same time, I am deeply saddened by your prophecy of a short lifespan. Shankara, as we heard from the sages, your lifespan is short. You are a grown-up now. You should get married and continue our family plan.
Dear Amma, I find no happiness in samsara. Desire means samsara. What emerges from the divine must merge back into the divine. I want to be a sannyasi. Amma, please allow me to take sannyasa.
No, my dear son. Please don't ask me again and again. I cannot bear to be separated from you.
Shankara! A crocodile has caught hold of me. At least now, please allow me to take sannyasa.
Shankara, Oh, my dear Sir Shankara, if that is the only way to free you from the crocodile, I grant you my permission, my dear son. I would rather you live as a sannyasi instead of being swallowed by the crocodile.
And so, my dear Shankara left home to be a sannyasi. But before leaving, he promised me he will be with me in my last moments.
We bow down to you, Amma. You are the epitome of selflessness and sacrifice. You gifted your son to the world for the spiritual upliftment of mankind.
As our dear Swami has said on Ladies' Day in the year 2000, Shankaracharya could become Jagat Guru, world teacher, because of his mother's virtuous thoughts.
Yes, and Swami extols Aryamba's virtues. It was because Aryamba was a devoted and pious woman and observed sacred practices that the great world teacher Adi Shankaracharya was born to her.
We collectively offer our humble salutations to dear Mother Aryamba. Dhanya ho Aryamba.
मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कारचित्तानि नाहं न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम्.
Dear viewers, our last guest, Mother Aryamba, showed us one of motherhood's venerable traits, sacrifice. Sai Lakshmi, ready to travel? Let's go now to current day. Now we have the pleasure of meeting another wonderful person. She gives new meaning to the word nurturer. Any idea who she could be?
Nurturer. Many names come to my mind. Could you please give me a hint?
This person epitomizes our dear Swami's saying, love all beings.
All beings includes all of God's creations. Is it Dr. Jane Goodall?
That's correct, sister. Our dear Swami says, there is no human being without love. Even beasts, birds, animals, and insects have love. This love is experienced in even the smallest of creatures. We should have deep conviction that God is present in every being in the form of the Atma, consciousness.
I am very eager to meet Dr. Jane Goodall today and explore her journey. Let us welcome Dr. Jane Goodall to our studios.
Welcome to Radio Saima, Dr. Jane, as you're fondly called by all. We are very happy to have you with us this evening.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you today.
Dr. Jane, please tell us a little bit about yourself. When and where did this love for animals begin?
Well, as far back as I can remember, I was always fascinated by animals. When most of the children would play with their pretty dolls, their plush teddy bears, my dear father had gifted me a chimp, a soft teddy bear, my favorite companion. I named him Jubilee, and Jubilee to this day is with me. He sits on my dresser at home.
How wonderful! You took your childhood interest and converted it into something so significant.
I always loved animals. I could spend hours in nature just watching them, reading about them, making sketches. It was always a dream of mine to travel to Africa to see animals in their natural habitat.
A dream come true. In your early 20s, you set sail to Africa all alone. Tell us, what were your feelings?
Excitement, trepidation, all bundled into one. In my first trip to Africa, I met Dr. Leakey, the world-renowned paleontologist and anthropologist.
He was the biggest and is the biggest influencer in my scientific life. He encouraged me, gave me the opportunity to do research and study the chimpanzees in their natural habitat. Anthropology in the late 1950s was a male-dominated field, but my mother was my biggest supporter. My mom was always there for me and a very important part of my life.
So true. The role of a mother is very important. I'm sure everyone agrees.
Dr. Jane, you have been in such close contact with the chimpanzees. It wasn't easy, right?
Oh no, not at all. I have been trying to get close to these chimps, but every time they seem to run away. I have no idea how to get there. Well, tomorrow is another day. Still no luck. Maybe it's time to try something different. The chimps seem to be enjoying their food. I hope they let me continue sitting here and watching them. I now have this big bunch of bananas to entice them. I hope this works.
Ah, this worked like a charm.
Yes, it did. They adopted me. It was such a rewarding experience.
It took several years. You were patient. You persevered. The fruit of labor was very sweet indeed.
As our dear Swami has said, one has to develop the 3 P's to safeguard one's humanness: purity, patience, and perseverance. These are the 3 essential human values. It is these 3 that have secured the world's regard. You can achieve success only when you have these 3.
You have won many accolades, awards, and honors. A few highlights are the UN Messenger of Peace, knighted by the British Empire, and most recently, the Templeton Prize.
You have now turned your focus to conservation and animal welfare issues, including several programs supported by the Jane Goodall Institute. Now, what message would you like to share with our viewers, especially to our youth?
The more we understand these kindred beings, the deeper our insight into how to be humans. Only if we understand can we care. Only if we care will we help. And only if we help shall all be saved. You cannot get through a single day without making an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference. And you have to decide the kind of difference you want to make.
I want to talk about what we all can do together to right the wrongs. You have an indomitable spirit. You can make change in your own life every single day to make this a better world. There is still a window of time. Nature can win if we give her a chance.
Thank you, Dr. Jane, for giving us a little peek into your loving, nurturing, and critical work. It inspires us all to conserve this beautiful natural world we all share.
As Swami has said, he is in all creatures. The behavioral pattern of animals is different from that of human being, but the underlying Jiva Tattva, principle of the self, is one and the same in both. We leave you with this message from Swami.
Dear listeners, our last guest showed us how the noble sentiments of motherhood can go beyond typical human relationships to encompass all living beings.
Indeed, Bhagavan has himself said, when you love and look after an animal, you help lift the whole of creation. Let's now travel back in time to the recent past to meet our final guest.
This is a perfect segue to introduce our next guest. Her musical prowess transcends geographical boundaries. It bridges religious and caste divides. She has sung in front of Bhagavan himself and has enjoyed his immense love and grace. Can you guess who she is?
You guessed it right. Madurai Shanmukha Vadivu Subbalakshmi has been heralded as the goddess of the perfect note, queen of Carnatic music, and as a nightingale of India. Even today, millions in India wake up to the sound of M.S. Subbalakshmi's Venkatesha Suprabhatam in their homes. Let us welcome M.S. Amma, as she is fondly called by the public. Sairam.
Sairam.
May we please call you M.S. Amma?
I am honored to be called MS Amma.
MS Amma, when did you first become aware of the great blessed gift you have?
I come from a line of devoted musicians, with my first guru being my musically talented mother. I accompanied her to many recitals, and by 10 released my first recording. Since my marriage, my husband has guided me to express this God-given gift in so many ways.
Even at 80, MS Amma, you practice for at least 3 hours a day. What is the secret to such discipline?
In singing, I am simply expressing reverence and love for God. When I do that, it does not seem like a chore. It simply becomes a joy.
You have sung in the divine presence many times, and Bhagavan seems immersed in the beauty of your singing. Let us play a clip of MS Amma and Bhagavan at the Spirit of Unity concert.
Paratparam nirantaram Paratparam nirantaram Samastaloka Shankaram Nirastadaita Kunjaram Dare Tarodaram Varam Vare Bhavakramaksharam Samastaloka Shankaram Nirastadaita Kunjaram Dare Tarodaram Varam Vare Bhavakramaksharam.
MS Amma, you had the good fortune to speak on Ladies' Day and address the crowd in front of Bhagavan. How was that experience?
I was very worried since I could not think of any speech suitable to give in front of the Lord Himself. I was very nervous, and when I went to the lectern to speak, I simply spoke a few lines from my heart.
We have captured this on video. Let us see how Swami responded.
Sri Sakshat Paramatma Vaikunthathipade Swami, நீ எங்களுக்கு அம்மாவா? ஆமா. அப்பாவா? ஆமாம். ஆஷானா? ஆமாம். நண்பனா? ஆமாம். இறைவனின் அவதாரமா? ஆமாம். எங்களுக்கு இது இல்லாமுமா? ஆமாம், ஆமாம், ஆமாம். உன்னை எப்படியெல்லாம் பார்க்கிறோமோ அப்படியெல்லாமாய் தோன்றி எங்களை பாலித்து அருள் செய்கிறாய் நீ. எந்தையரும் எந்தையர்க்கு முந்தையரும் செய்த தவப் பயனாய் இந்த பிறவியில் எங்களுக்கு இந்த பாக்கியம் கிடைத்தது. இதுபோல் எப்போதும் நீ எங்களுக்கு துணை இருக்க வேணும் சுவாமி. தீனுடனேனோ தேவுடவு சுவாமி.
What a beautiful interaction. Swami, in fact, commented later that day, your speech was the best, since it came straight from your heart. MS Amma, you have received numerous awards and accolades, such as the Padma Bhushan and the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honor. Which of these was the most meaningful?
Awards and accolades come and go. I consider the sweetness of bhakti and the ability to forget everything except the Lord Himself, my true reward.
MS Amma, you have performed in front of the UN General Assembly many times. Can you please tell us of a memorable concert?
It was 1966. India and Pakistan were at war. Paramacharya of Kanchi composed a prayer and blessed her to sing it in front of the UN General Assembly. On the eve of the UN concert,
Kunjamma, would you like to practice after dinner? What's wrong, Kunjamma? Say something. Tomorrow's the UN concert, Kunjamma. What shall we do?
after a night filled with fervent prayer to her Lord, surrendering all outcome to His will, MS Amma sits on the UN Assembly dais. She did not know what the next moment would bring.
Om Namah Pranavartaya Shuddha-jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha.
Shreyo bhuyat sakala jananam, Shreyo bhuyat sakala jananam, Shreyo bhuyat sakala jananam.
What a miraculous incident, MS Amma. Thank you for sharing that with us.
MS Amma, you have sung in foreign languages on occasion. In fact, you sang Bismillah in front of the UN delegates in Arabic.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Were you not nervous to sing in front of members and delegates who are Arabic when the language was foreign to you?
I wasn't nervous because I was singing to God. With His grace, I learned the words, pronunciations, meaning, and the correct bhava to sing to Him.
You are truly inspiring, dear MS Amma. You show us how music can elevate man to the heights of bhakti and renunciation.
Indeed, MS Amma, you have nurtured God's gift with care, and whatever you achieve through it, you place it right back at His feet. Thank you, Amma, for gracing us with your presence today.
Thank you, dear MS Amma. Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam. Dear listeners, we have seen how, with high ideals, our four guests have nurtured their God-given gifts to positively transform the world. Namely, Nancy through Abraham Lincoln, Adyamba through Adi Shankaracharya, Jane Goodall by regarding all creatures as her very own children, and finally, MS Amma through her divine music.
This concludes our piece on Ladies' Day. Dear listeners, we hope you enjoyed this very special Ladies' Day program. Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram.